Hello and welcome to the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League, live tonight from Interlagos. Here, this 15-course, 2.68-mile racetrack located in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's going to be a very fun one here for race 5 of this 10-race season. We do have some new features on the broadcast here tonight. Should help you enjoy the race a little bit more, and looking forward to some wheel-to-wheel racing action again from these guys as they tackle this difficult racetrack. We'll ride on board here for a little while. This is Brian Kennedy we're on board with at the moment, but just to get a feel for around this racetrack, 15 corners and just under 2 3/4 miles. You can see a little image of the racetrack right there, and you can see as we ride on board with Brian Kennedy, his number is going to be highlighted on that track map. And you will be able to track the car numbers now instead of the positions, which we've had in the past. This is a much more advanced track map. For some of these more complicated tracks you may not be familiar with, but Interlagos is a very famous international circuit. They race Formula 1 here, as well as many other racing series. And these guys in the BMW M4 GT3 is going to be looking to put a show on for us here. 2-race format tonight, 20-minute sprint races. And driver to watch this season, that is Christopher Hill, this 101 machine, who has been so dominant. He has won 3 of the 4 races. Darren Treacle capturing the other victory. And Treacle, I believe, not here tonight. At least I'm not seeing him on the racetrack. Smaller field this evening, maybe a track some of these guys don't have a lot of experience at. Right now it is Christopher Hill and Steve Ficacci second quick. Ficacci, last season's champion, going to be looking to try and get back onto the podium. He finished 3rd in Sprint Race 1 last week at Mount Panorama, but suffered some issues running in the 2nd position in Sprint Race number 2. So he's looking to come back and try and redeem himself here in this one. Go on board here with Christopher Hill if he can get a full lap in for us. 1.5 minutes or so, what it takes to get around this racetrack. If you're new to this series and watching, they are presented by Beltway Brewing Company as well as SEO Mike, search engine optimization group out of Kansas City. Beltway Brewing Company is in the Virginia area, Blue Ridge Mountains, I believe, somewhere in that area. But yeah, you'll hear more about them at the halfway break between the two sprint races. You can also learn more at the video description here tonight. We're right on board with Christopher Hill as he's making his way through this very technical S's section. There's a little bit of elevation change. See just how hard he has to get on the brakes. Some of those corners as qualifying is going to wrap up. Christopher Hill will be the pole sitter. So starting from the top spot again, looking to try and get another victory here tonight. Let's go through our starting grid for sprint race number 1 before we get off and away here tonight. Pulling off from the front row, it is going to be Christopher Hill. Alongside him, Steve Ficacci, those two fierce contenders for the championship last season, rolling off from the front row here tonight. Starting in the 3rd position, Rafael Torres, who's had a lot of speed so far in these M4 machines. Adam Pohl going to be to his outside after a very successful set of races last week. Jonathan DeKuscher in the 5th position. Reed Wilson rolls off 6th. Aaron Dietrich going to start from the 7th spot. Brian Kennedy, he'll start from the 8th position. Starting in the 9th spot here tonight, it is going to be Michael Pavolano, and rounding out the top 10, Colin Kortnick. 11th, Stefan Vapa. 12th, Clint Fletcher. 13th, Aspen Belvin. Jesse Brannon. 14th, Ian Tulane. And 15th, Justin Craig. 16th, 17th is Mike Nickham. 18th, Perry Duncan. 19th, Scott Kim. Rounding out the top 20 is Stefan Tenney. Carlos Bonds, 21st, and Birkit Gandogdu in 22nd. Rounding out the field is Yakov Bielik in the 23rd position. 23 drivers here tonight. Should be a pretty fun one. Some of these corners and these straightaways are pretty narrow. You can see here just too wide in line before we get pacing, and it's already reasonably tight on this straightaway. There is going to be a lot of racing action out here this evening. Looking at the weather conditions here in Brazil, 78-degree air temp, 123-degree Fahrenheit track temp. So they will be struggling for grip, especially as the run goes on. Those tires heat up. They're going to be sliding around a little bit more than you might be accustomed to seeing from these race cars. We do want to thank you for joining us here tonight. Hope you do enjoy the race. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends. Let them know that we're out here Thursday nights broadcasting this league. And hopefully these guys can put on a good show for us here tonight. Christopher Hill's been dominant. He's led every single lap in 3 of the first 4 events. The other one he finished runner-up in both sprint races, just to Darren Treacle. And Darren not here. The closest competition I think he will have tonight is going to be Steve Ficacci, and those two, no strangers to each other whatsoever. As this is race number 5 in a 10-race season, Christopher Hill has pulled out to a pretty nice points lead. We'll get the points up next race as we kick off the second half of the season. Look at the schedule here next week. We're going to be at Nürburgring, and then quite a few interesting tracks following that as we make our way through the final corner here at Interlagos. Car making that left-hand turn onto pit road. It is going to be Christopher Hill and Steve Ficacci with control of this field of drivers tonight. We're Interlagos for Race 5, the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League, about to get underway once again. Here we go. It is Picacci and Hill going to lead us down into turn number 1. Hill gets out to a nice clean lead there over Steve Picacci. Rafael Torres now maybe going to try and make a challenge for the second position. He'll go to the inside underneath the 00. The 777 gets in there. That's going to push Picacci well off the racing surface. Might get a slowdown penalty for that, but he is going to try and track down Christopher Hill here in the next set of corners. And there goes Torres through the grass. He's going to get into Picacci. They both go around. Here on lap number 1, Torres aggressive as usual. He takes out the second place driver in Steve Picacci. And that is going to set things up perfectly for Christopher Hill, who now doesn't have any direct pressure. DeKusher about a second behind him, and everybody else single file till you get all the way back here to, that is Torres going to give a position back up now to Clint Fletcher. He'll try and gain it right back on the high side. Oh my goodness, controversy already for that 777 who's had his share of issues this season and is always one of those aggressive drivers here in this league. And he's going to try and pull a crossover move on the 12 of Clint Fletcher. Going to have some damage as well. Steve Picacci back in 19th. Already out of contention for this one. Lots of work to do in a 20-minute race. Not a lot of time to do it, honestly, as the lead gap to DeKusher about 1 second still, and that grows out of turn number 1 and 2, now into turn number 3. And that gap 1.2, 1.3 seconds and ticking upwards as they head towards turn number 4. It was a bit of a dive bomb there from Rafael Torres as we have side-by-side back here. That is Aaron Dietrich. And Reed Wilson, who just started off last week, he got a great top 10 finish, and right now in the top 5. Pabolano trying to hold off Brian Kennedy and Aaron Dietrich as they go side by side through the section that Picacci and Torres got together, and they are fighting hard as usual for this 5th position. The drivers will earn points if they finish in the top 15. Of course, the winner of the race is going to get the most of those. We've got battling farther back. That is Clint Fletcher going off the racing surface just a little bit, and he'll get passed up by Justin Craig. You see Dean Tooling right there as well. Perry Duncan, Scott Kim currently in front of Steve Picacci. Got featuring a new paint scheme on that race car, I believe. We'll ride on board here with Steve Picacci. He maybe tries to set up Scott Kim down into turn number 1. Right now, a few car lengths back. Might get a little bit of a draft down this straightaway, though. Topping 150 miles an hour. All the way up to 154 as he gets on the brakes here. Hard in the braking zone. Damage on this race car as well could be affecting him. That battle farther up the field. That is Michael Pabolano going to try and hold off Brian Kennedy. He will be successful at doing that. And Aaron Dietrich right there in the mix as well. That the famous Gulf colors on that BMW M4. Closing in from behind, but not a good corner right there. Stefan Vapa actually closes the bead on the 18. Right on board with Vapa. Tries to set up the switchback here, get a little better drive into this corner. These cars are pretty powerful, over 500 horsepower in these M4 GT3s. So you will see some tire spin at times. They've got a lot of grip, a lot of downforce, but not necessarily enough to keep these cars planted at all times, especially if you're really pushing these tires. And with the track temps that we have here tonight. Christopher Hill still about 1.3 seconds up the road. That's pretty well stabilized as DeCoucher settles into second. Adam Pohl trying to track him down. Those top three have driven away from Reed Wilson, who leads the next line of race cars, all separated by about 2 car lengths and 15 minutes left in this race. Other battles, if there are any, back here. Dean Tulane, Jesse Brannon, not too far apart. Brannon maybe getting set up right here as Tulane now looks to driver's right. Down into turn number 4. And, oh, there goes Brannon around. Hangs on to it, and that will allow Steve Ficacci up into the top 15. Now his sights set on Tulane to get to 14th spot. Ficacci in recovery mode. We do have 2 drivers on pit lane, Perry Duncan and Mike Nickum, who have brought it in here, possibly a fast repair for those race cars. But they currently ride at the back of the field and trying to get off of pit road as quickly as possible. Almost losing control was Perry Duncan. Reed Wilson and Michael Pavolano starting to drive away from Brian Kennedy, who's got a mirror full of Aaron Dietrich and Stefan Vappa. And then the next 3 cars behind them, Aspen Belvin, Colin Kortnick, and Rafael Torres rounding out the top 10, starting to close in as well. And Kajari Racing in the chat asking about Jonathan DeCoucher. He actually started in 5th, currently riding in the 2nd position. Good start for him in this one. Thank you, Mr. German, as well, for tuning in. And it was a bit of a bad pass attempt there earlier by Rafael Torres, and he is in recovery mode at the moment as well, putting pressure on Colin Kortnick. 777, he's got the pace, he's got to have the patience. He can get back up into the top 5 before it's all said and done. He'll put the move now onto Colin Kortnick right where he tried to make the pass. That's Steve Ficacci, but Kortnick, good defensive driving right there. But he'll leave the door open now, and here comes Torres, not able to capitalize. They work through turn number 9, the cross back. Try and get to driver's left, but now a right-hand turn, and look at this. Torres trying to dive it in there. Still cannot stay alongside as Kortnick. Really good battle right here for the 10th position. Aspen Belvin, the driver up in front, and the Dale Earnhardt Goodwrench style machine. He's in the 22. As we got some battling further up, Aaron Dietrich now trying to make the move on Brian Kennedy. Reed Wilson has lost a little bit of ground to Michael Pavolano, starting to fall back to those 2. They'll head into turn number 1 side by side. Dietrich backs out of it. Try it again probably in a few more corners as he tries to recover here. Couple car lengths separating those drivers. As I was saying, Aspen Belvin, who's a new driver this season, had some great performances coming from the back of the field. Already up 4 positions in this race. And one of those drivers you expect to continue to march forward as the races go on. And he'll perform even better in race number 2. It's a guy who doesn't seem to make any mistakes. Christopher Hill has been perfect all season long. He has won 3 of the first 4 races, and yes, sir, the clock will count down to 0, and they may be on the white flag lap at that time, or if it counts down to 0 while they're still during a lap, then I think the next flag is the checkered. So we'll have to wait and see. It's looking like it's going to be about a 13-lap race right now. They are on lap number 6. Coming to lap number 7, Christopher Hill crosses the line. 2.25 seconds up the road from Jonathan DeCoucher. And that is a pretty massive lead. It's going to take some heroic efforts from DeCoucher to close in, as he is also fighting off Adam Pohl for the podium positions. And doing a good job right now. Those second and third place drivers, they're keeping up a good pace. Actually, a little bit slower than Michael Pavolano, but Pavolano is about 2.6 seconds behind Adam Pohl. So he's going to have a lot of work to do as we have a battle here. Brian Kennedy goes wide, trying to track down Reed Wilson. That 77's found some speed here these last couple laps. He has been very quick, trying to get a top 5 position back from the 10 machine as Aaron Dietrich starting to fall off a little bit here. Stefan Vapa closing in on him. And Vapa, you can see really nice and smooth through that corner there, now through turn number 9. And Dietrich seems to be struggling quite a bit. Vapa saved his stuff most likely. Just 0.3 faster the previous lap. We'll see what it is this time as they get close to coming back around to the start-finish line. Just one more corner here. And then the kink back onto the straightaway. That is turn number 14. And then there's another kink that technically counts as corner number 15. They are just about there. This little kink right here is turn number 15. I'm surprised they count that, but they do. And look at Stefan Vapa. He is there, closing in ever so closer as he peaks down. Driver's left into turn number 1. Not going to make that move. That decides on the wider arc into that corner, and he's going to keep putting pressure on here on the 18 of Aaron Dietrich, and they'll head down towards turn number 4. That battle is on for the 7th position. Meanwhile, up the road, Reed Wilson still holding off Brian Kennedy. Looking for some other battles a little farther back. Scott Kim's out in front of Carlos Bonds, but most of these guys pretty well spaced out at this point. Tough track to run side by side, but they're trying to do it right here. Clint Fletcher and Justin Craig, the 208 and the 12, and a little contact. And the 208's going to go through the grass. And he will recover and actually pull right back alongside the 12 machine. Probably not going to be too happy about that. He'll get passed up. And now Dean Tooling trying to get in on that action. All of these drivers fighting for the final points-paying positions. Jesse Brannon not far behind, trying to close in. Hopefully the track map is a little bit more helpful than before. You guys can hopefully see where the cars are that we're looking at. Christopher Hill, your race leader, headed through turn number 1. He's highlighted in blue there, and the number 101, you can see that on the track map. But he leads this race. He's led every lap after starting on the pole, and Jonathan DeKusher back in second has got a little bit of breathing room over Adam Pohl. Maybe he can set his sights forward and try and track down that 2.5-second margin. Maybe a little bit too far, though, as Rafael Torres makes his way past Aspen Belvin, so that moves the 22 back to 10th. Torres on recovery road right now from 3rd starting position, got involved in turn number 5 on lap 1 with Steve Ficacci, and Ficacci a few more spots back in 12th. Had a pretty solid recovery. He was at one point back in 19th, so up 7 positions from where he was running. And for other battles right now, a lot of guys separated by a few tenths. Clint Fletcher over Justin Craig. You know Justin Craig's going to want to get back to that 12 and give him a run for his money for that 13th position. And Clint Fletcher a little bit sideways as he went through the braking zone in that last corner there. Pretty cool racetrack here at Interlagos. This is definitely a very interesting F1 circuit, and cool to see these BMWs out here. These guys are really wheeling it, putting down some great laps. Very consistent throughout the field as well. We are getting times. The race leader 1:33.89. We've got the slowest time in the field was a 1:36.9. So just a 3-second spread from fastest to slowest drivers here on that last lap, and most of them a 1:35 or better. So that shows you it's about 1.2 seconds really the spread, and that's a pretty close margin for a league with this many drivers in it. Reed Wilson, Brian Kennedy fighting for that 5th position. Look at Kennedy, the dive bomb down into the corner, closes up big time. Able to get that car rotated and pointed in the right direction. He is now just about 4 car lengths behind Reed Wilson. Be the first battle for position in the top 10. Nobody else really close enough. Adam Pohl maybe starting to pull back the 15 of DeKucher, but that gap just a little bit too big at the moment to start anything. Also on board here with Rafael Torres in 9th, closing in on Aaron Dietrich, who's fallen back a few positions. Got passed up by Stefan Vapa. And Torres, you know, is going to be pushing the issue here to try and get a couple more positions, set himself up for race 2. As he is just a couple of car lengths behind, doing everything he can. And a little challenge up further. Reed Wilson, Brian Kennedy. Kennedy goes down to driver's left. They'll go side by side out of turn number 4, but give that spot to Brian Kennedy. 3.5 minutes left in this race, and he's moving up into the top 5. A little farther back, Torres and Dietrich. They'll be side by side. Look at the send by the 777. And he will go the long way around Aaron Dietrich. Torres can avoid the mistakes early on in some of these races. He could find himself on the podium every single time. And he is fighting his way back up there, up to 8th. He's got 3 minutes left to gain a few more, and he's got him right there in front. He could potentially get a top 5 out of this thing. Puts down a couple of killer laps. Christopher Hill working his way back towards the start-finish line. We'll have 2 to go in the sprint race number 1. Easy sailing right now for Christopher Hill. Nice clean lap there, faster than 2nd place. Not the fastest that time around. That was Adam Pohl, actually. But only about a half-tenth faster than Christopher Hill, and that gap 4 seconds to Pohl. Adam Pohl about 8 tenths behind Jonathan DeKucher, so keep an eye on that battle for 2nd. We'll have 2 laps, and he might be able to close in. High back here, Rafael Torres, just about 5 car lengths behind Stefan Vapa, also Steve Ficacci. Still in 12th, not quite close enough to anybody to gain any more spots. He'll be looking for Aspen Belvin and Colin Kortnick to potentially get into it here, or one of them to make a mistake. Not looking like that is going to happen at the moment, as we are working towards the white flag here. Christopher Hill just a couple more corners, and the 101 taking these guys to school once again. Christopher is a racing instructor, and he teaches people how to get faster in real life as well as here on the sim, and he is constantly showing these guys up. He has been so good this season. Closest competition in this one kind of cleaned themselves out, so that is not great for them. It's really good for him. He didn't have to worry about anything here in this race, as Adam Pohl still not close enough to Jonathan DeKucher. The battle is on back here. This is going to be a tight one on the final lap of the race. Torres closing in on Stefan Vapa. He looks to the left side of the 97. He'll stay in line into turn number 4, deep in the braking zone, pushing wide a bit. He'll try and close up on Stefan Vapa and try and set him up here with just a handful of corners remaining in this race. Reed Wilson feeling the pressure from Vapa, who's moved forward throughout the event. Wilson right where he started in 6th. Brian Kennedy has not been able to drive away from this like I thought he might. But we are coming into the last few corners right here as Christopher Hill. Yes, 3 more in this one. 4 more, actually. Keeping an eye back here. Vapa all over Reed Wilson. And Torres doing everything he can to gain time. A little bump right there from Vapa. It's not going to be enough, I don't think, as they work their way up the hill. Christopher Hill is going to win sprint race number 1. Jonathan DeCoucher, great race from him. He'll finish in 2nd. Looking back a little farther, Adam Pohl 3rd. Michael Pavolano 4th. Brian Kennedy holds on to 5th. And Reed Wilson's going to hang on to 6th in a tight race between himself and the 97 of Stefan Vapa. Good battles right there. Dietrich 9th behind Rafael Torres in 8th. Aspen Belvin 10th. Colin Kortnick 11th. Steve Ficacci in 12th. Clint Fletcher will hang on to 13th. Justin Craig, Dean Tulane, Jesse Brannon, Scott Kim, Carlos Bonds, Yakov Bielik, Stefan Tenney, Berkant Dogu in 21st. Mike Nickham, Perry Duncan going to round out the field here in sprint race number 1. We can get Jonathan DeCoucher in here. He finished, actually, you know what? We'll have to get somebody outside the top 10 in this one. How about Stefan Vapa? He had a good race here. Started 11th, finished in 7th in heat race or sprint race number 1. If we pull him in the booth. What? Not in server here, unfortunately. So no Stefan Vapa. Let's see if we can get somebody else. But we'll get him right after the quick halfway break where you can hear a couple words from our sponsors. Beltway Brewing Company is located in Sterling, Virginia, and proudly represents the DMV area. Check out their lineup of unique IPAs, lagers, sours, stouts, and even seltzers. Savory and delicious empanadas by Peruvian Brothers are now available in their tap room. For all things Beltway, go to beltwaybrewco.com and follow at Beltway Brew Co. on social media. SEO Mike helps businesses of all sizes achieve higher search engine rankings to drive more traffic and increase sales. Contact SEO Mike today for a free website evaluation and quote. Mention this ad for 15% off your initial setup. SEO Mike, marketing websites on the internet since 1997. Visit SEOMike.com.
Welcome to V-Speed, your home for sim racing excitement, providing dramatic moments from iRacing and beyond. We offer broadcasting for leagues across iRacing with specialized packages to help grow your league and advertise your sponsors.
I think, and right now Stravato with that advantage. It's half a car length the difference between first and second going into turn 1. He gives the bumper to Connor Horn.
These two have gone all year to get to this point. Jacob Shorba drifting up the racetrack. They make contact. The 88 goes around. The 95 goes around. The 12 caught in it.
Our design team can help you create anything from paint schemes to sim rig parts with expertise in both 2D and 3D design with 3D printing capabilities. Looking to get into broadcasting yourself? We can help you design and operate custom overlays to make your stream look as professional as possible. Our team can create and manage custom merchandise sales for you and your team. Check out our shop to see what we have in stock and how we can create some awesome merch for you. Check out our race replays on YouTube or catch us live weekly on Twitch. Visit us at vspeedsim.com to see how we can help you on your iRacing journey.
Back at the racetrack now. We're going to pull in Brian Kennedy really quickly for a couple questions.
That is impressive paint.
Hey Brian, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. Real quickly, just want to ask you about how you felt there in race number 1 and what you're looking forward to in race 2.
It was a lot of fun. You know, a lot of action. I feel like I was racing for position with someone the whole race. But definitely, Aaron was commenting like he ended up one spot getting passed by 2 people because he was on the wrong side of the track in traffic, and so that's my goal for this race, is to have awareness like that and hopefully pick up a couple more positions.
Yeah, you were definitely in the midst of a really tight battle there, 5th through about 9th position at the end of that one, but you held them all off and starting in a good spot here in race number 2, and good luck out there.
Thanks.
It is Brian Kennedy who's going to roll off from 5th here. Christopher Hill wins sprint race number 1. It was Jonathan DeKusher in 2nd, and we would have pulled him in, but not in here. And neither is Stefan Vappa. We wanted to pull him in as well. He had a good first race, finished 7th. But Adam Pohl, he'll start up here towards the front. Michael Pabolano, some of these guys with a good opportunity. Maybe get a good finish here in sprint race number 2. We're about to get going for Interlagos, the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. And in the chat, yes, there is going to be some BMW merchandise. And we are working on it at the moment. A couple issues with our printing source, the graphic that we created. But we'll have it back up and going and available for you to purchase, hopefully in the next handful of days. I'm very excited to get those back up there. So looking forward to it. Hope you've enjoyed the race tonight. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow along if you like the action here tonight. Side by side for the race lead, almost 3 wide down into turn number 1. Christopher Hill leads the way. Jonathan DeKusher in the 2nd position. Going to stay alongside though through turn number 2. Through turn 3, still side by side, a little contact door to door, the 101 and the 15. As they get single filed out, it is going crazy at the back of this field. Look at Aaron Dietrich look to the outside. Here comes Rafael Torres. Dietrich in the grass, Torres to the inside. He'll tuck back in line. Really crazy start for some of these guys as second place changes hands. DeKusher with problems. Here comes Steve Ficacci out of nowhere. He started in 12th. He's up to 3rd now if he can get by the 15. You know, he wants an opportunity to get a better finish here. Finished in 12th after starting 2nd. Still fighting for 4th now, as there is Rafael Torres. Those two got together in race number 1. A little farther back, some fans in chat cheering on Justin Craig and the Hang Loose Racing team. Some good luck here in race number 2. Justin up to 8th position, started 14th, and that is pretty impressive that he has gained that many positions already. Stefan Vappa going the wrong direction, back to 11th already. Keep an eye up here in the lead battle. Some of these drivers, Adam Pohl up to 2nd, side by side, Ficacci and Torres. And, oh, they are bumping and beating and banging down into turn number 1. Ficacci to the inside, sends it down in. Torres not going to give it up, though. And he is going to try and just push the 00 off the track again. Here he goes, though. Ficacci clears him. And here comes Aspen Belvin in the Dale Earnhardt themed machine. And Torres not going to give up that easily, though. He looks left. He looks right. Going to stay in line behind Ficacci. Now tries the outside on Aspen Belvin. Goes way off the racetrack and able to take that spot away from Aspen, who's able to stay on the racing surface. Here comes Pabolano with a good run. He'll look to drivers right down into turn number 5. Not going to be able to make that move stick. This is some great battling here amongst the top 5. Torres so late on the brakes there, but gets it woed up just in time. And he has been so good on the braking points, seemingly gaining tenths of a second every single corner, being able to just charge in even harder than anyone else. Got to be careful of that as we have hard battling back here. Jesse Brannon, Stefan Vapa, Colin Kortnick, 10th, 11th, 12th. Vapa will take the 10th position away as he starts to try and make up some spots. Lost them there at the beginning of this race. And how about Aaron Dietrich? Started 8th, back to 14th right now. He got pushed, I think, onto the grass, now racing with Dean Tulane for 13th. They're going to kind of stall each other out here on the straightaway. Everybody else single file in front of them. And the lead not growing quite as quickly as it was before. Adam Pohl keeping touch with the 101. As Ficacci and Torres have not been able to close in anymore. They've been battling so hard. I think could have used their stuff up already here in the first 5 minutes. But you know they're going to try and regroup and refocus. They're two of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Have a lot of ground to make up already. About 3 seconds to the race leader, Christopher Hill. Adam Pohl pushing hard right now. He was faster than Christopher Hill the previous lap. Maybe the draft on the front straightaway giving a little bit of an assist there. The gap even closer than it was the previous lap. We'll see what Adam Pohl can do. He has the draft on this straightaway. Should be able to close up about a car length or so before they get into turn number 1. See, he is closing now down to about 0.3 of a second, down to a quarter second. And that is where it will stop as he gets into the braking zone a little bit wide on the entry, but cuts it back. Christopher Hill so confident back on the throttle, just going to drive away from him through that section of the racetrack. Over 0.6 of a second now. Welcome everybody in chat. Hope you're enjoying. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to stay notified of when we go live. We're here Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube as we've got battles around the racetrack now. Justin Craig, Brian Kennedy, 8th and 9th. Brian Kennedy, who started 5th, who was looking to gain a couple more spots at the start of this thing. He's gone the wrong direction. Right now in 8th. And big gap back to Dean Tulane, Yakov Bielik, Clint Fletcher here as well. Perry Duncan up to 14th from 22nd. So nice job by Perry, who had problems in race number 1, to make a pit stop. Adam Pohl still within striking distance, about 0.5. He can stay here. He can at least bother Christopher Hill a little bit. Able to cut that gap down quite a bit this time on the straightaway again, right to about 0.3 or so. DeCoucher's starting to close back in. He's starting to put the pressure on the 19. Steve Ficacci a little behind them. Slowly reeling in the top 3. He was the fastest car. 0.7 quicker than your race leader last lap. See where he ends up at the end of this one, but Christopher Hill definitely feeling the pressure. He could have pushed that car really hard on lap 1 because Adam Pohl is closer now than he has been, 3.5 through this part of the racetrack, but this seems to also be the spot where Christopher Hill just so good back on throttle, able to pull that gap back out, but still just under 0.4 of a second. They work into the final braking zone of the lap and back on throttle. A little wiggle from Adam Pohl, that'll cost him as they work up the hill. Gets up to about 4.5, and then he'll work that back down using the draft. So far, no lead changes tonight, and no cautions here in this series. They don't do local or, well, they don't do full course at all, but the drivers will be notified of local cautions if somebody's gone around. So farther back, Aspen Belvin racing hard with Michael Pavolano. Well, as Brian Kennedy. So Aspen, who moved up to the top 5 at one point, he's starting to lose a little bit of ground here to drivers who also started up there in the top 5. Goes Brian Kennedy, going to make a move down to the inside, hard charge. He's going to get into the 3, and they're both going to go sideways. Kennedy locks it up, locks it down. He's going to sit on the racetrack for a bit. Aspen Belvin, he'll lose another spot, though, and Brian Kennedy just gets it backed up and out of the way, as he will lose a lot of ground. Exactly what he said he didn't want to do in this race. I think a little commentator curse coming into play right there, so sorry about that, Brian. Battle for second getting really tight now as DeKuescher all over Adam Pohl, and Steve Ficacci is closed up now under a second behind your race leader. The question is, can he make the passes and challenge Christopher Hill? Been the best car the last couple of laps, although Torres right there with him in lap times, and Michael Pavolano, pretty solid lap as well. There will be some moves made probably here. The thing is, they all have drafts. DeKuescher might be in the best spot to make a move. He's going to look to driver's right. The door is closed right there in front of him. Adam Pohl hanging on to second. This race far more competitive than race 1, where Christopher Hill won by almost 4 seconds. Really cool racetrack here at Interlagos, Sao Paulo, Brazil. And Ficacci putting that pressure on DeKuescher, gets a little bit offline right there and just trying to work back now. Looks driver's right, not enough room to make the move. It is tight navigating these corners here, the S's section of this racetrack. Christopher Hill doing exactly what he needs to do. He's so smooth out here tonight, and has not given up the lead at any point. Adam Pohl has given him his biggest challenge so far, though. And if he can get close enough here out of this final corner, he may even be able to challenge down into turn 1, but seems to lose about a 10th every single time through that corner. Nobody really able to make up any time at all on the car in front this time around. As the clock continues to tick down past halfway, we're at 9 minutes. And it'll be 6 laps to go as they cross the stripe. They're going to use every inch of racetrack they can. They go out off over onto the painted stripe section of the racetrack. The top 5 all in line right here. You got to go back 3.8 seconds to Michael Pavolano, and then another 3 seconds to Justin Craig, Aspen Belvin, Dean Tulane, Yakov Bielik starting to feel the pressure from Clint Fletcher. Then Brian Kennedy, he's taken out back here in the 12th position. Carlos Bonds having one of his better races in 13th. Race for him. Harry Duncan with problems. Oh, blinking. Okay, I thought he just towed it, but it's actually just blinking. He's in 14th. His best performance that I can remember. Stefan Vampa back here looking to charge back forward. Got some damage on the front end of that race car. Aaron Dietrich, Colin Kortnick, Scott Kim, Burkint Gandogdu, and Stefan Tenney as maybe a little sliding farther up the road. Brian Kennedy, Clint Fletcher. And we might have a battle further up between Steve Ficacci and DeKuescher, and that battle's over actually. Ficacci takes third away. And now he's got his sights set on the top 2. DeKuescher in trouble here, losing some ground. And here comes the 19, going to try and make a move down into turn 1, but not close enough. Christopher Hill able to kind of block that as Torres and DeKuescher side by side. And And Torres not afraid to get his nose up in there. You know, he may even try again this next corner, trying to pull some draft on the straightaway. Get as much momentum as he can. Sticks right to the bumper and stays behind him in the braking zone. Is now the battle for second done and dusted. There's Ficacci. One position left for him to try and track down Christopher Hill for this sprint race win. And how happy he would be to end up back on the top step of the podium. And what a charge from Ficacci, who at one point was 19th in race number 1. He started 11th in this race. And currently up to second, and the race leader. I don't know if Christopher Hill's just been saving his stuff a little bit right now, but he has had pressure, and this is about the closest we've seen anyone out of that final corner. Working back towards the straightaway, that gap 3.5 tenths already. He'll cut it down probably another 2 tenths. He might have an opportunity to send it down into turn number 1. Just have to wait and see what he attempts to do farther back. Rafael Torres just about getting blocked down into pit road. But Ficacci not able to make a move that time. Christopher Hill still perfect on the night. He started on the pole, fastest in practice. He's led every single lap so far, side by side. Jonathan DeCoucher, Rafael Torres. As Torres now fully alongside into turn number 4. We're going to try and cross him over here. Can't get the power down. He's still behind him. And the race lead, 1 car length between the 00 and the 101. This is flashbacks of last season with Ficacci and Christopher Hill trading wins. Great battles all season long between these two, and they're right back at it now here in race number 5. Another battle developing back here is Jakub Bielik into the top 10. Brian Kennedy up to 11th now. He's gotten by Clint Fletcher. Little offline right there, but trying to get a good exit here to maybe close up and get back in the top 10. An eye on the leaders, though. Ficacci, he's closer than he was last lap. He's got the draft, 1.5 car lengths. Now 2 car lengths, but he'll shrink that back down. Now under 2 tenths of a second. He's going to look to the right. Has the run. The gap just 1 tenth of a second into turn number 1. Not close enough. Going to try and cross him over, though. Gets on the rumble strips. And that will cost him a bit here at the beginning of this lap. But he has given it everything he can. Tried his best move right there. He'll have to make it work at some point in the next 3 laps if he wants to get the victory. Torres and DeCoucher still going at it. Torres kind of stalled out here in the 5th position behind Jonathan DeCoucher, and that 15 car has been so solid all race long. I think Justin Craig could be driver of the day, though, up from 13th to 7th in this race. Big mover in this one. Jakub Bielik in 11th, started in 18th, so really nice runs for both of those drivers. So we'll have to see, but issues for Christopher Hill. He's going to lose the lead. He might even lose second. What just happened to Christopher Hill? Was there a little contact? At the replay right here. Oh, I don't know. He just rolled up out of the way. Maybe missed the shift. I'm not sure. He's fallen back to 3rd, though. So Steve Ficacci, he'll be the first new leader of the night. And he's already out to 6.5 tenths over Adam Pohl. And Christopher Hill trying to charge back, though. He's back up to 2nd. Still side by side with Adam Pohl. This will cost both of them time, as Steve Ficacci, he is running away. 1.1 seconds now, 1.2. As side by side, DeCoucher's going to try and get back on the podium here. Adam Pohl side by side with him and Rafael Torres. So 4 cars under a blanket as they send it down into turn 4. Still side by side. Look at Torres, the send in the braking zone, able to get that car pointed. And side by side for third. This could hurt DeKusher. No push from the draft. And Torres right there sends it down in. What a battle here for that final step of the podium as it's Ficacci, Hill, and they are going to be coming back to the white flag this time. So only a lap to go after this. How about Michael Pavolano? Keeping at it here in 6th. He's closed in. He could get a top 5 if these guys get into it in front of him. And a really good effort from him to be up here all night long in the top 6 or so. Ficacci well out in front. It's going to be too much for Christopher Hill unless Ficacci makes a huge mistake. That gap is 1.6 seconds. And white flag going to be in the air this time. You see the flagman waving it down into turn number 1. The battle is on for second, though. Look at Adam Pohl. He'll send it deep in the braking zone. And a little contact to the 101. That shoves him wide. And here comes DeKusher trying to get back into third. And he is there. Christopher Hill's just going to let those guys go. He's already won a sprint race. He's got the pole. He's got most laps led. Probably fastest lap at some point tonight. And he is not worried about another podium finish here. But look at Rafael Torres. Going to go way wide, way off the track. He'll bring it back down right alongside Christopher Hill. But it's all happening well behind Steve Ficacci, who's recovered here tonight. Started the first race in 2nd. Started in 12th in sprint race 2. And he has just driven forward all night long. He's going to be headed towards victory lane here. Just a handful of corners left. The battle is really on for that 3rd position. Torres, who started race 1 in 3rd, got into Ficacci, spun them both out. Trying to get back to where he started the night, has not been able to do so. Coming down to the final braking zone here. Gonna be close as they head back towards the start-finish line, but he's a little slidey on the throttle. And Steve Ficacci, from the back to the front, gonna make his way across the start-finish line, and he'll win the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League race here at Interlagos tonight. Congrats to him. What a battle and fight in the top 5 in this race. Christopher Hill ends up P5 after leading the first 10 laps. Michael Pavolano, and then go back a little ways. Aspen Belvin out in front of Justin Craig. So Justin Craig's lost a spot here in the late going. Dean Tulin, Brian Kennedy recovers into the top 10. Clint Fletcher and Yakov Bielik. Oh, and he's going to send it down into turn 1 there and collect a couple more cars. I think Yakov's going to be our driver of the day. 6 positions gained. Really nice night for him. He'll finish in the 12th position. So driver of the day, Yakov Bielik. But let's go ahead and pull up our race winner here if we can. Straight away, Steve Ficacci. We can get him in the booth and talk with him quickly. You know what? He is not in here yet, so either it's Jonathan DeKusher, Adam Pohl is in here. Let's go with Yakov first then. He is here. Driver of the day, right there, Yakov Bielik. Pull him in the booth. Hey Yakov, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I can hear you, Adam.
All right, man. Well, you've been voted driver of the day by myself here, and
Wow.
up 7 positions in race number 2, and a really solid night for you overall. Describe the race from your perspective and how you feel about the finish tonight.
I'm actually quite pleased with the finish. My first race, actually, I got into a little bit of a mishap, I think with Scott and one other driver as well. But matter of fact, I was able to get connected to iRacing just 30 seconds before we actually went to the grid. So I was very pleased with that. Otherwise, I would have been very, very late to the... I would have missed the whole race. So That was very fortunate. Yeah, the battling was very, very close. I didn't have enough time to warm up, really, so the first race was kind of my warm up. But yeah, it was an exciting race. Nice, close battles going on.
Yeah, obviously learned a lot there, and you gained quite a few positions. Got some points here in race 2, so congrats on that. And
Thank you, thank you.
and we are headed to the Nürburgring next week. So how do you feel about going out there?
Yeah, I enjoy the Nürburgring. It's a shame it's not with the Norderschleife as well, because that would even make it more interesting. So, but yeah, an exciting course. Pretty complicated at times, but a really enjoyable track to drive.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've never commentated a race from there, but it should be a lot of fun to see you guys wheel it out there at that track. Such a historic and significant track here. So looking forward to that. But great run here tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Give a shout out to the league, to NCC. Fabulous. The racing that we've been doing, the league is well sponsored as well. Shout out to Crafting for a Cure as well. Yeah, just enjoying racing.
Awesome, Yakov. Well, great race tonight from yourself, especially sprint race number 2. And we'll catch you next week.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you. We do have our race winner now. Steve Ficacci here in the booth with me. Steve, this is Adam of the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I do. How are you?
Hey, not too bad, man. And what a night for yourself, from the back to the front. And you drove away with it there in those final few laps. Got to be satisfying to kind of complete the comeback there in race number 2.
Yeah, so I missed the first 2 races of the season, and then I came back at Daytona, and I thought I had great pace, and didn't make it out of the third turn. It's it's so hard to make it through the pack, so that race was kind of a wash. And then last week at Bathurst, I was I was behind Chris, and I touched the wall, and it banged my steering, and I didn't think I hit it that hard, but it just ruined the car. So it was like, I really wanted a good race. And then here, I guess it was turn 5 of the first lap, we were spinning, so I kind of thought the race was over, but we had good pace, and I had a good start in the second race, and I was close enough behind Chris, who was leading at the time, and I could tell he was struggling. I don't know if he was struggling because he cooked his tires, or if he was just pushing too hard, but I kind of knew he was in trouble. And then I'm not really sure how I got by him. I'm thinking maybe he was in the wrong gear for that corner, because he just didn't accelerate. I mean, I almost drove over him exiting that corner. So I'm not really sure what happened, but I mean, the end result is what you want, right?
Yeah, and I saw the same thing. I thought he might have missed a shift or something, but you drove right on around, and just nobody could touch you after that point. 2.8 seconds ahead of second place in just a couple of laps. It's very impressive. But you were back in 19th at one point. You end up winning. You led just the last 3 laps of sprint race 2, but really impressive night. And we go to the Nürburgring next week. You think you can repeat this success there?
I hope so. So what I think, and this is just my theory. Like I said, I've only done a few races with these guys so far, but I feel like the ABS kind of hides a lot of the driving. So that's why like the mid pack and the front are so close now, where you can kind of rely on the ABS. But I think it's gonna cook your tires, and I think that's where my advantage falls at the end. I'm generally gentle on the car, just in fuel and on tires, so I think it pays off for me. So I'm kind of hoping to keep that going. The first few laps will always be a little bit tight, I think, and I'm not going to have a pace advantage if I have one at all, and it's just a matter of waiting for everyone else to fall off. Is kind of what I think this car is going to need anyway.
Yeah, looking at the last lap there, you were faster than all those guys in the top 5 by basically a second or more. So definitely had the pace when it mattered in those closing laps. So great job here tonight. Very fun to watch you drive up through and complete the comeback. It doesn't happen all the time, right? So it is satisfying, I'm sure, when it does. So
I made so little time in that first race. I was just like, well, this is over. But fortunately, I got a pretty good start in the second race, and that made it a whole lot easier.
Yes, sir. Yes, it did. Up from 12th in this race to take the win. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for the victory tonight?
Sure. I just want to start. Kellen Crocker, who's in our league, he actually got hurt last week on track. I think he dislocated his shoulder. So just thinking about him, hoping he comes back and can join us sooner than later. And I got to thank my wife as usual, Rick Splix. I got some more sponsors this year. We've got Office Service Company. We also have Butcher's Finest. They got really cool beef jerky monthly packs you can get from those guys. So that's something cool. And as usual, you guys do a great job, and we thank Kim for the league and SEO Mike. We have our alcohol guys help me there.
Beltway Brewing Company.
Beltway Brewing, those guys. Yeah,
Yep.
it's been a while for me. Sorry.
I was gonna say
But,
it's when I was talking earlier, I was like, he's gonna be very happy to be on the podium again and get one of these interviews. It's been a little while, but
well, it's been so frustrating. Like I said, I felt like I had great pace at the last 2 races. I just couldn't
Yep.
put it together.
yeah, you were right there, just issues. But tonight you overcame the issues and the adversity and get to step on the top step of the podium here tonight. So congrats on that, and looking forward to seeing you next week at the Nürburgring.
Thank you. See you then.
Thank you. That is your race winner, Steve Ficacci. Satisfied to be back up here and on the podium. Let's go to grab Adam Pohl. If he is here. Adam, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Hey Adam, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, not too bad, man. Really solid race for you, or set of races here. Just like last week, right? You're right up here on the podium. Again, you started third. You finished third in the first race, second place in the second race, and it was a fight there at the end of this one.
Yeah, that was an intense night of racing, but once again, last week I said when the fast guys make a mistake, I'll be there. And first lap of the first race, there was a mistake, and all of a sudden, I was up into third and just did everything I could to hold on to John's bumper through that whole race. And then the next race, yeah, I got I don't even remember how I got past John. I think I got a better start than him or whatever, and was happy for that. And just, yeah, I didn't expect to be able to stay with Chris through that all, and just had the pace to do that. And then unfortunately for him, you probably saw a couple slowdowns. He was having some trouble with his shifter, so took advantage of that. Too bad for him, but it almost cost me the podium at the same time. Once things got a little crazy there with positions going back and forth, but I did everything I could to hold on to it, and was really happy to bring it home in second for the feature.
Yeah, this is a really good set of races from you, though, and a lot of amazing battling here at this place. I wasn't sure what to expect. It's pretty flat, and some sections are pretty narrow, but yeah, definitely put on a good show for us. We go to the Nürburgring next week. How do you feel about going out there?
It should be good. I know that the Grand Prix circuit fairly well. I won't get as much practice in as I want. I got a bit of a work trip this week, but should be back in time on Thursday to get in a little practice and then jump into the race with everyone. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, best of luck with your work trip there. But for tonight's race, anybody you want to give a shout out to for the second place finish?
Well, Raphael almost took me out with 2 laps to go, I think, into whatever that corner was that Max forced Lewis off, and so I'm just thankful that he didn't collect me there when he was running deep. So I'll do a shout out to him tonight for that.
Yeah, he was definitely aggressive here. It was fun to watch, and I'm sure a little scary from the mirror perspective. But
yep. So,
but congrats on the second place.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
You too. At second place, let's go to third place, Jonathan DeKusher, as we'll pull him into the booth. Jonathan, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Well, a fun set of races from you, man. You finished on the podium in both of the sprint races tonight, right up there in the mix with the best of them here in this league. And how's it feel to come out of this thing in third in the second race?
Couldn't be any happier with it, seeing as I was not looking forward to this track tonight. Not a fan of it, so it went well. I just trying to make my way forward. I'd like to run up at the front, but it'll come.
Yeah, I mean, you were right up there, especially this second race. You guys were all on top of each other. It was quite a battle in the closing laps. I mean, at some points, I think you were all the way back to fifth, or it was just the positions were changing hands so fast. What was that like out there in those last closing laps?
Nerve-wracking. I didn't want to. I'm still pretty new. Don't want to make a mistake and write a guy off. I got into Chris Hill there. I think the last lap, I sent him an apology already. It was an accident. I just tried to follow Adam through. But no, all in all, a good race, and man, those guys go hard. It was fun.
Definitely a lot of fun to watch from our perspective in the booth as well. And we go to the Nürburgring next week. How do you feel about going out there?
GP or full circuit?
G.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. I like it. The rest of the season, I think, looks pretty good. Getting a bit more time in the rig here at the house, so we'll be good to go.
There you go. It definitely a couple that I've picked on there as really fun tracks to race at. So looking forward to it. But man, great night from yourself. Second in sprint race 1, third in sprint race 2. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
No, we're good tonight.
All right, man. Well, you had some fans in chat cheering you on as well.
Oh,
so go back and check them out. And I'm sure they're celebrating. And go celebrate yourself up there at the third place finish.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Too. That is third place finisher Jonathan DeCoucher, as we are going to go now to the rest of the results here tonight from Interlagos. What a great set of races. That was a lot of fun, and hope you guys all enjoyed it out there. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. Let's take a look at the results from tonight's race. All right, so Steve Ficacci takes the win in sprint race 2 after starting all the way back in 12th. He charges to the front and takes that victory. Adam Pohl finishes second. Jonathan DeCoucher in the third position. Rafael Torres recovers to fourth after starting up towards the front in race 1. Christopher Hill leads most of the night and gets passed up late in the going by Steve Ficacci. And I'm sure he'll be back to challenge again next week. Michael Pavolano finishes in 6th. Aspen Belvin finishes 7th. Justin Craig 8th. Dean Tooley 9th. And Brian Kennedy going to round out the top 10. 11th position, Clint Fletcher, driver of the day. Yakov Bielik finishes in 12th. Stefan Vapa 13th. Aaron Dietrich 14th. Carlos Bonds 15th. Colin Kortnick 16th. 17th was Perry Duncan. 18th, Scott Kim. 19th was Birkin Dogdu. 20th was Stefan Tenney. 21st, Jesse Brandon. 22nd, Mike Nickham. And 23rd, Reed Wilson, who I believe did not take the green flag here in the second sprint race. So a lot of fun racing tonight from Interlagos. You won't want to miss next week at the Nürburgring GP track. It'll be a lot of fun there. Hope you come back to join us at that time. We'll be having a really long race on Tuesday with the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series. That's going to be a 300-mile race from Michigan in the next gen NASCARs. So you're going to want to tune in for that one as well. And we do want to thank you so much to all the sponsors for helping present this stuff, bringing these great races to you each and every week. If you did enjoy, make sure to check us out at the different social media links that you'll see here in just a few moments. Again, thank you and have a great night.